My first guest tonight is the former Home Minister P. Chidambaram, who was leading the debate from the opposition's benches. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Chidambaram. You seem to suggest today that it was a historic blunder, a dark day for democracy, a day that democracy will never forget. Was that a bit of hyperbole, that you're not willing to give a chance to what many see also on the other side as a potential game changer, that Article 370 is finally out? Maybe Kashmir could actually benefit from a legal architecture where there is no Article 370.
What is hyperbole? You bring a bill in the morning and pass it within a few hours, changing the status of Jammu and Kashmir from a state to a union territory. Have you ever heard of this outrage before? Union territories have been upgraded to states. Goa, for example. Puducherry wants to become a state. Delhi wants to become a state. And here you take a state which acceded to India. It was a state for 70 odd years, and you now make it a union territory. You call this a historic achievement?
The reason why the government says it's a historic achievement, they say previous governments have balked at it. The government says previous governments have balked at it, even though they know that Article 370, according to the government, was a temporary provision. Previous governments have balked at it. Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah have gone where no one else dared to tread.
We are not talking about Article 370. We are talking about the J&K Reorganisation Bill. 35A and 370 were manifesto promises to the BJP. If they want to go down that path and repeal 370, they will face the consequences. I think 370 is part of a compact between Maharaja Hari Singh and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, assisted by VP Menon and Gopalswamy Iyengar. Certainly nobody is suggesting that Sardar Patel, VP Menon and Gopalswamy Iyengar were mocking at whatever you say we are mocking at. It was a considered decision. All right, I concede that the BJP's manifesto promised to repeal Article 370. So stop with that. Did the BJP's manifesto also say that we will reduce the status of Jammu and Kashmir? We will dismember the state. It's not dividing a state, it is dismembering a state into Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir and reduce them to union territory. You know what a union territory status is. You know how lieutenant governors treat the chief ministers. Just ask the chief minister of Delhi and the chief minister of Puducherry, and you will know how lieutenant governors treat chief ministers despite Supreme Court rulings.
It's very interesting.
I stood up at the end to ask the Home Minister that while he explained, while I asked him, you explained Article 35 and 370, you didn't explain why you're reducing the status of J&K. And even after that, he didn't explain it.
Let me offer up, it's very interesting, Mr. Chidambaram.
What is the reason?
No, you're making a distinction between the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganisation Bill, which has reorganized the state into 2 union territories, and Article 370. Let's come to them both one by one. You're saying that the reorganization is dismembering Jammu and Kashmir.
Yes.
Sources in the government tell me that the aim is to try and ensure that the valley doesn't dictate. The valley doesn't dictate terms to a Ladakh or to a Jammu. They are trying to create a more equitable distribution of power as a result. As a result, somewhere sending out a message to the valley-based parties, you can't dictate terms to Delhi, or indeed those who want to create a separate state, country of Kashmir one day.
I'm surprised by your naivete. If you want to create a union territory out of Ladakh, that's one thing. The residual state of Jammu and Kashmir, why have you reduced it to a union territory? Are you saying that chief ministers of states challenge the center? Or are you saying that you can be a chief minister of any other state, you can't be chief minister of J&K state? Is one state different from another state? Do we have two kinds of states in this country? A state which was a state for the last 72 years has become a union territory. Don't you see the monstrosity?
Can I ask you though now to the second part of what you've said, which is the consequences of Article 370?
A union territory. Kindly listen to me.
Yes.
Just a moment, just a moment, just a moment.
Yes.
Both of us can't talk at the same time.
Go ahead.
I've repeatedly made it a condition when I speak, I don't wish to be interrupted.
Please go ahead.
Leh is the only one which wanted to become a union territory. Kargil is opposed to a union territory. Now you have combined Leh and Kargil. You have put two conflicting positions together in a union territory. How will they run the union territory? Kargil does not want a union territory. Kargil wants to be part of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Now you can ask me.
May I ask you though, you said the consequences of Article 370. What are the consequences of the scrapping of Article 370 that now trouble you so much?
What troubles me is that Article 370 is part of a compact. The people in the valley want Article 370 to be implemented in letter and spirit, which means they say, give us more autonomy. When I led a parliamentary delegation, along with Sri Arun Jaitley as the leader of the opposition, the whole state wanted to meet us. Thousands met us. For 2 days, from early morning to late in the night, we met thousands of people. And our impression was, why impression? I was convinced after that marathon meetings that most people in the Kashmir Valley wanted autonomy, which means greater powers for the state. That is the demand of the people. And that was what is promised by Article 370. Over the years, we have chipped away at that promise and left them with little autonomy. And today, you've told them point blank, no autonomy to you. I mean, how does this solve the problem of Kashmir? Would it not further alienate the people of the Kashmir Valley? On the one hand, the people want more autonomy. Current position is they have limited autonomy. And today, you have slammed the door on autonomy. Can't you do that tomorrow in Nagaland and Mizoram? Please read the constitutional provisions for Nagaland and Mizoram. They have asymmetric devolution of powers. Tomorrow, you can simply repeal that and say Nagaland will not have the additional powers, Mizoram will not have the additional powers. 370 is not a class by itself. There's a whole series of articles after 370, beginning with 371A, which confer asymmetric powers on several states of India. And I particularly draw attention to Nagaland and Mizoram. Look at those two articles. What kind of message does it send to Nagaland, Mizoram? If you can do this to Kashmir, you can do it to Nagaland tomorrow, you can do it Mizoram day after tomorrow.
Can I again tell you what the government says? They say a response of the kind that you've given is fear-mongering. And at the end of the day, if you truly want to develop Jammu and Kashmir and integrate it with the rest of the country, then Article 370 must go. That's been the BJP's stand for years, that Article 370 is preventing the integration of the Kashmir Valley with the rest of the country. It's prima facie discriminatory and has outlived its purpose.
You are simply parroting these cliches. Please answer my question. Please ask somebody in government to answer the question. The entire Part 21 of the Constitution, Nagaland is 371 capital A, Mizoram is 371 capital G. There are similar provisions for other states. Asymmetric devolution of powers is a part of India's constitution. It is a part of many federal constitutions, Australia, Russia. You are preaching asymmetric devolution of power in Sri Lanka. You want the Tamil provinces to have greater powers than the other provinces. So asymmetric devolution of powers is part of India's Sri Lankan policy. And when it comes to Kashmir, all that the people of Kashmir Valley want is give us greater autonomy. Now you can discuss it, you can come to some agreement. Instead of that, today you have slammed the door on their demand for autonomy. Why is what I want to know.
Why the answer that the government gives is that this will finally allow people to invest in the valley. This will allow people from other parts of the country to invest in the valley. It will ensure greater employment. It will ensure the development of the valley. This is the argument that the government is consistently giving.
Please understand, if Kashmir acceded to India, J&K acceded to India under a compact, please tell me, are we not breaking that compact today? A compact which was entered into by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, of course Jawaharlal Nehru. Are you not breaking that compact? If you break the compact without discussion, without negotiation, without an agreement, you can. You can break a compact after you enter into a new agreement. But unilaterally, if you're breaking a compact, which way will Kashmir go? Will it come closer to India, or will they go further away from India? Will it attract them to India, or will it alienate them from India? Common sense tells me, if you do something against the wishes of the people, without negotiation, without an agreement, without persuasion, they are likely to be more alienated, not less alienated.
Let me therefore ask you in conclusion, Mr. Chidambaram, the sense is that the government of India for the last 70 years has made various efforts. They've tried dialogue, they've tried military action. At the end of the day, nothing has worked. You've had increasing instances of terror in recent times. Therefore, the Modi government believes the time has come to what they call a bold, risk-taking decision. And do you see that actually having some impact on the ground positively, or do you believe it will only further alienate people and further result in an increase in the violence?
I don't agree with your statement at all. After 2010, violence declined sharply. Year after year, violence declined, casualties declined until 2014 and well into the Modi government's first year, 2014-15. It was only in the middle of 2015, when the Modi government changed tack, that violence started rising. So I don't agree with you. You should look at facts, look at data, without simply repeating whatever the government is saying, number one. Number two, I don't want Kashmiris to be more alienated. I don't want that, but I'm afraid that will happen. I sincerely hope that they will not be more alienated. I sincerely hope that more young men will not take to violence. I sincerely hope that they will realize that they will have to remain a part of India and therefore come to terms with that. But I'm afraid, because I and you sincerely hope that, that may not happen. It may have the exact opposite consequence. Please understand me clearly. I don't want the catastrophic consequence. But if you have a catastrophic consequence, what will you do?
So you don't believe in this theory of muscular nationalism? The time has come, in a sense, to draw a line in the sand, and today the Modi government on Kashmir has drawn a line in the sand which they believe is something which has been part of their manifesto and something which the nation wants.
Of course not. I don't believe, and I never will believe, in muscular nationalism. We are a democracy, we are a republic, we are a liberal society. I don't believe in muscular nationalism. Show me one example anywhere in the world that muscular nationalism has resolved internal conflicts. Muscular nationalism is not the answer to resolve internal conflicts. The only way to resolve an internal conflict is by negotiation, persuasion, and extending your hand of friendship and hoping that people will see reason and come to some agreement.
But
if
you don't-
Sardar Patel had tried muscular nationalism, Kashmir would have acceded to Pakistan. He would have acceded to Pakistan. Maharaja Hari Singh had that choice. He would have acceded to Pakistan. But Sardar Patel was a wise man. He didn't try muscular nationalism. While he sent Indian troops to fight the Pakistani Razakars, he extended a hand of friendship to Maharaja Hari Singh and agreed to accession on his terms, or whatever terms they negotiated. So are we wiser than Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel?
The Congress, though, sir, was isolated today in Parliament. At
I'm
the end
not.
of the day, regional parties also went with the government, including parties like the BSP, TRS, YSRCP. So is the Congress, in a sense, out of tune with the national mood?
Congress was able to muster 61 votes despite some absenteeism in our ranks. Where did the 61 votes come from? CPI, CPM, DMK, RJD. You don't count them as parties? Go and talk to the MPs of the parties that voted with the BJP. I won't take names because that won't be fair. These are private conversations. Every MP said he got instructions that whatever may be our position, we have to vote with the government. And if you look deeper than the surface, you will know why these parties voted with the government, why the leaders of these parties voted with the government. I'm not attributing motives, but I think it's quite plain to anyone why some parties vote with the government and why other parties vote against the government. And I'm not holding a brief for any party, and I'm not condoning any party nor condemning any party. I speak for the Congress party. We stand by our resolve that Kashmir is a sensitive issue which has to be resolved only through negotiation with all stakeholders. In the meanwhile, we must have enough forces there to maintain the peace. But you don't send 35,000 troops and put central police forces in every police station and in every Sarpanch's office. Why don't you go to Kashmir, speak to Kashmiris and find out what's happening? In every Sarpanch's office, there is a central police force. In every police station of Kashmir, there is a central police force contingent. Is this the way to reach out to Kashmiris? Again, let me say, I don't wish the consequences should be catastrophic, but I'm afraid it may turn out to be so.
Let's leave it there, Mr. Chidambaram. You've been very articulate as always, given us your perspective. It's a contrarian view, it's a dissenting view, but it's nevertheless a view of someone who's been Home Minister and therefore carries the weight of that office. Thanks very much, Mr. Chidambaram, for joining me. Let's